Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find. I've always said he's a hell of a player. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the greatest ever. If he can stay healthy, the verdict's still out on that. But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when I bragged about him and Ben Simmons a few years ago, saying they're going to be the future of the NBA, he didn't call me and say, hey, Charles, thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe. I know this is a very late stream. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July. It was kind of weird the 4th of July was on a Sunday, but I'm glad tomorrow's Monday. I don't have to work. I don't have to work, so I'm happy about that. Get my banner up. So before we get into the video, there's a couple things that need to be set up front. So this is a bonus episode of episode 9. This will conclude episode 9 of Big Nick Talk podcast. I just want to just clarify this with the podcast. It's the podcast. I'm trying to cover each sport as best I can. With basketball coming to an end, like I said, once the NBA Finals is complete, that'll conclude season 1 of my podcast. We'll go to season 2 where we get into more baseball, football, and WNBA for sure. We even talk a little Olympics, particularly the basketball side, and even a couple other events, track and field, 100 meter, 300 meter, all that, swimming. So in tonight's bonus episode, there's a couple of things that were added at the very last minute. So the Atlanta Dream, I'm not sure what's been going on. Tonight they lost to the Las Vegas Aces, and they got shellacked. And from what I'm understanding, so according to what I saw on Twitter, there was a couple things where Kennedy Hollywood Carter only played for 5 minutes and 42 seconds and then come out the second half. Then it was reported that there was according to a source, and I'll leave those tweets. And actually, let me show you those tweets as I'm talking. And then there was an altercation in the locker room. Now, there's a couple questions that I have because it seemed like Kennedy came out and kind of said what she needed to say. And I'm going to play some of the clip of them just talking about this, particularly Monique Billings and Mike Peterson. I'm going to pull the tweet up. So hold me 1 second. Where is it? I saw it. Where's Spencer at? I'm trying to find Spencer. He's the reporter. He's the beat writer for The Dream. I apologize if this is taking me so long. I'm trying to find the tweets. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. So, according to the game, Sources say a player tried to talk to Kennedy Carter during a timeout and she got mad. It happened in the first quarter. I tried to see. I didn't see anything that was out of the ordinary. It could have been me. I don't know if anyone else caught it. And then this was Hollywood. This was Kennedy's tweet. Please, if anyone says that they know me, stop it. Circle way too small. And then Tiffany Hayes tweeted, the stories are so wrong. But something just wasn't right. Something wasn't right tonight with the Atlanta Dream. To the way Mike Peterson responded in the post game interview after. We're gonna play that clip. Something just doesn't add up to me. I'm going to play Monique Billings' interview. This was after the game.
All right, we've got Monique Billings here. If you have a question for her, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. Spencer Nussbaum, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Hey, Monique, happy 4th, first of all.
Happy 4th.
Just wanted to ask you about, obviously this isn't an easy game to bounce back from, but, what's your mindset coming out of this and what are your overall thoughts in the game?
We just have to learn from every game that we're in, have key takeaways, things that we need to focus on to get better for the next game. That's just how the league is. You just have to keep preparing and keep your head up. You can't get too high, can't get too low. So after this, we can't get too low. We did some really good things, and we did some things that we got to learn from going into our next game.
Sorry. Emmanuel Glaze, go ahead.
Monique, how would you describe the current temperature of the team, the current mood of the team right now?
Listen to this, y'all.
It could be up and down. I think we need to get to a point where we're just a little more solid, a little more consistent with the temperature. We get high sometimes, we get low sometimes, but we're working through those kinks.
Spencer, back to you.
Yeah, obviously not the outcome you wanted, but you had a very solid game, especially against one of the, if not the top front court in the league. What does it say about your game that you're able to really show up on the biggest stage and show out against players like Asia Wilson and Liz Cambage?
Well, I got to give a shout out to Odyssey Sims. She had 13 assists tonight. She was just throwing that thing. So she was finding
she was.
Her and the rest of the team. Courtney found me on some good dimes. So I just got to give a credit to my teammates for getting me the ball.
And Emmanuel, we'll go back to you for the last question. Go ahead.
You got a nice little break between your next game against Connecticut. What would you like to see from the team to get better to prepare for that game against Connecticut?
Just to be locked in. I think focus could be a lot better just from the scouting report and just our energy. It's just a small detail. It's not even always just stuff on the court. So just being focused, locked in, and being
I agree
close.
with that.
All right, thanks so much, Mo.
Because there were a lot of possessions I saw. There's a stretches where they were not getting back on defense. They weren't taking good looks at the rim. Poor communication. Disappointed in that. But
All right, thanks for waiting.
this
We've
is
got Mike
where
Peterson
it's
here. If you have
really
a question for
interesting.
him, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. Spencer Nussbaum, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach.
Hi, Spencer. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Obviously a tough loss. I just wanted to ask about Kennedy. Obviously, I didn't see her there in the second half. Could you just kind of give us some insight on that?
Yeah, she's not hurt, but she also wasn't on the bench in the second half, something we're dealing with, and that's kind of all I can say. But she's not injured.
That doesn't make any sense. Now, Christina Williams, and I'm going to leave her I'm gonna leave it in the description for y'all to see. Actually, so I can pull it up real quick because a lot of people are kind of pointing the finger. It was tweeted by Christina that there's a source within the locker room in that team that pull it up again. Sources are telling me that multiple players in Atlanta are not happy. Oh my gosh, I need to go to sleep. Are not happy. I am told there hasn't been any accountability from top to bottom. This is disturbing. I'm not gonna lie. That stings a little bit if I'm on that team. You know, I'm looking at some of the other tweets. People again pointing at Kennedy. I know Kennedy had some issues in college. You know, I know some people transferred. But let me just say this. I felt something was off before the season started when Nikki Cohen left to go to Baylor to replace the great Kim Mulkey. Let me just say this. And y'all, again, y'all could let me know. I could be not paying attention on this, but I don't recall Nikki Cohen's name ever coming up as the head coach for Baylor. Y'all can let me know if that happened. If it did, I apologize for that. Because to leave a few weeks before the season to go become the head coach to replace Kim Mulkey, something's just not right in Atlanta. And I like Mike Peterson. I do. Mike Peterson has championship experience. He was under Coach Reeves in Minnesota. But I personally think he's not the coach for this team. They need like a Teresa Witherspoon. I might even go and say they need a Becky Hammond. They need a coach where I think the biggest thing I see that lacks with Atlanta, they don't have a leader. Like, for example, like let's call it what it is. Like tonight, 3 of 12 from Crystal Bradford. Some people are pointing the finger at her. Cheyenne Parker, 7 of 12. Elizabeth Williams only took 4 shots, had 10 points. Courtney took 18 shots, 9 of 18, 19 points. Like, there's no leader. And I know Tiffany Hayes is out with MCL injury. She may be out for a little bit longer. Maybe we probably won't see her. I know it'll be doubtful. She comes right back. She comes right after the Olympic break. But I'm looking at Atlanta. They're very guard heavy. Like, you have Odyssey, Kennedy, Courtney, Arian McDonald. Like, I don't think you need that many guards. I really don't. I think they're just too guard heavy. And then, like, for Kennedy not to play only 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Something I said 5 minutes and 34 seconds, excuse me. I had the incorrect time. Something's not right with that. And I think that says more about there was a disagreement with the coach. She's either fed up. We don't know. But I find it kind of weird that you're hearing these things come out of Atlanta's locker room. And then you're hearing sources according to someone saying that there was an alleged altercation in the locker room. Now, Christina Williams also tweeted a source has characterized a particular player as being a cancer in the locker room. So question. Somebody, it can't be Kennedy. It can't be. It has to be Tiffany Hayes, Courtney Williams, Odyssey Sims. Those are your suspects, in my opinion. For Kennedy not to only play to have that short period of time playing, and then hearing cancer, something's not right. And then she follows up with the tweet, there's no accountability from top to bottom. So that says ownership, Renee Montgomery. That says coaching, Mike Peterson. And that says the players. There's no leader. When you have no leader, this is the results. Like, this notion that the Atlanta Dream are 6-11 is a joke. They're on paper, they are a good team. They had a great game against Seattle, but to come out and again, Las Vegas is the best team, in my opinion, in the league. To come out like this, and you're hearing all these things, something's not right with that. And Tiffany Hayes tweeted. I'll share the tweet so y'all can see it. LOL, every story is so wrong. So let me share it so y'all can see it. Every story is so wrong. So if it's so wrong, then that's where you should come out and set the record straight. What's going on? I mean, I know you're not going to say anything because it's whatever happens in the locker room, it stays in the locker room. But when you're hearing cancer, no accountability from top to bottom, and then there was an alleged altercation, something's going on in Atlanta. So I really do hope the Dream get it together. I know they have a kind of like they said, as an extended break against Connecticut. I'm disappointed in the Dream, and I know people I was watching Sports Streams Network again. I don't have any beef with him. He's a good commentator. He knows his stuff, but sometimes I feel like he reaches on certain topics. Like I feel like he made a video regarding what was going on. I kind of feel like some of the things about what he said about Renee Montgomery, like it's at the end of the day, just let's just call it what it is. There's something going on in Atlanta, and it starts from top to bottom. They need they need a leader. I think they need a head coach that speaks the language. But the one thing I don't get, and it's not just with the WNBA, it's with the NBA, baseball, football. I'm not understanding this new generation of egos. Like, I've never played basketball or any sport. Let's use basketball, for example. Like, I wish I could play with a guy like Kobe, Shaq, Larry Bird, Magic. Like this, like for example, right? Let's use Kyrie Irving. Kyrie left Cleveland because obviously I just don't think he and LeBron could coexist. Kyrie wanted to be the man. I want to win. Like this notion that we're winning, but I got to be the guy. I got to be the person. This is my team. I have to get mine. Like, you want to play with many great players and win, but I'm not really understanding this new generation of egos. I'm just not. For example, I'm using Atlanta Dream again. I can't remember who they were playing, but it was Elizabeth Williams in the paint, and she called for the ball. And who was in possession of the ball? Let's not slide on her. Was Courtney Williams, and Courtney Williams ignored her. Did not pass the ball. What did she do? She took a shot and she missed it. And Elizabeth went off on her. I wish I could find that clip. I've been looking for it and I couldn't find it yet. But something I'm really just not understanding this new generation, this generation of egos. Like we're winning, but I have it. I still got to get mine. What happened to sacrificing for the greater good for the team? What happened to that? And then on top of that, see again, and we use Sports Streams Network as an example. We keep talking about we're pointing the finger at Kathy Engelberg. We need to expand the league. We need to do this. We need to do that. Listen. I mean, I'm all for that, and I understand that. But the biggest thing that stands in the way of that is when you don't have people like your Jay-Z's of the world, your Kanye Wests, Rihanna, Taylor Swift's, etc., where they're not even looking, millionaires, billionaires, looking to say, hey, let me invest in this team. Let me invest in the Mystics. Let me invest in the Sparks. When you don't have that type of audience, like it should say something that Jay-Z and Beyonce go to a Brooklyn Nets game, but they don't go to a New York Liberty game. That should say something. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm loving the fact that the attendance for the WNBA is growing. I'm totally for that. But the biggest issue is that we have to get people to say, hey, listen, this is a product that can grow and is growing. But these narratives, we got to kill. Like we could talk about expanding to Miami, expanding to Portland, or whatever. We could talk about that. But the biggest issue is we got to kill these narratives about the WNBA. You can talk about lowering the rim and other things like that. But at the same time, look at the counterparts. Look at in the NBA, for example. Look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Trash. You mean to tell me you rather go see those teams than go see the Minnesota Lynx, the Los Angeles Sparks, or the Washington Mystics? You mean to tell me that a team like, again, the Connecticut Storm, then the Minnesota Timberwolves? So I think that we gotta continue to kill these narratives about the league is boring, it's trash, it's not going to grow. Because those I think that create these narratives, they never watch the game. They just feel like it should just be no league at all. Because the WNBA, until these last few years, I've enjoyed it. I'm seeing great basketball, and it's particularly this year. I'm seeing a different type of physicality to the game, even though that one play, the dream play, the Liberty, I keep seeing that Tiana Hawkins play where she speared Deja Lady and Daniel broke a leg. But I'm just seeing a different level. There's levels to this. And I think it starts with, again, we promote the league, we get, more TV, the networks get, more TV time, and we just grow the league little by little. Because I'm telling you right now, I see the WNBA bigger. I would like to see, an expansion on the rosters. I would like to see guaranteed contracts for the season. I would like to see the minutes increased. I would like to see more games, at least bump it up to like 50 games. I would like to see those things. But I think the biggest thing is we got to kill these narratives about the WNBA, plain and simple. And I'm going to do my part as a fan and as an inspiring journalist to help kill those narratives. So I hope the Atlanta Dream do get it together. There's questions. There's questions. I just interesting. So my next topic, we're going to get into Rachel Nichols. Rachel Nichols is in the headlines for all the interesting reasons. So apparently, I believe Maria Taylor is actually may leave ESPN. And according to reports, there's a internal strafe, I'm going to use that word, about Rachel Nichols making some comments about Maria Taylor. Rachel was recorded, this is last year in the bubble, about when they let Maria do the hosting and Rachel be like Doris Burks, the sideline reporter. And Rachel's basically said, no, I'm not doing that. Basically you want me to change my role so you can have Maria, so you can show as a company, oh, we're diverse and giving people TV time. And we're going to play the recording. Because like they said, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
They said to me, hey, instead of hosting the NBA Finals, why don't you do Doris's sideline reporter job for the NBA Finals? Because guess what that would clear the way for? For Maria to do the hosting. There you go. So, I have declined. I don't know what their next move is, but they are feeling pressure because of all of that. And I'm trying to figure out how to just, my thing is that I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world. She covers football, she covers basketball. If you need to give her more things to do because you're feeling pressure about you're the crappy long-time record on diversity, which by the way I myself know personally from the female side of it, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. You're not gonna find it with me. They said to me, hey.
So that's disturbing, if you ask me. So the recording was sent to their human resources department, and the person who leaked it, according to this article I'm reading on sportsyahoo.com, her name is Kayla Johnson. She's a digital video producer. She was suspended for 2 weeks without pay, and then later was given less desirable tasks at work. So basically, ESPN, and this is what I'm saying, like ESPN the last few years, I will say this, really ever since the Ray Rice thing with Stephen A. Smith and getting into, just ESPN just finding it hasn't been the same. And that's why I'm a firm believer we need to give the NBA Finals to Ernie Johnson and the crew at TNT because, they make it so fun to not just talk about basketball, but to entertain you. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy, Mike Brennan, Reggie Miller. Oh, Reggie Miller's with TNT. Like, I love those guys. But sometimes when I look at First Take, or when I look at like that great example, like sometimes it's like, damn. Well, ESPN is not guilty, but I think it's really ignorant though on Rachel's part to not step aside and go, okay, why not? I don't have an issue with that. But to me, that's a bit. I don't like that. Like, let's look at some of these tweets on Twitter. Let's look at some of these tweets on Twitter, because and this is funny to me. I will never understand. And I might get flack for this. Why women, it doesn't regardless of color, do not generally support each other. Like, my thing is, if I'm Rachel, let her do it. She works, she covers football, basketball. She's doing her thing. She worked her ass off to be in this moment. I'm going to let her, like, yeah, I'm okay with that. To me, it's kind of like all these things, like, I'm not doing that. That really lets me know. I think the privilege is coming. That's to me. I feel like her privilege there came out. Like, no, I'm not. What's this? In the recording of the video obtained by the New York Times, Nichols and Mendelssohn paused for a moment during the conversation after she planned to wait for ESPN's next move. Mendelssohn, who is white, said, "I don't know. I'm exhausted. Between Me Too and Black Lives Matter, I got nothing left." And Nichols laughed. Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm just looking at some more of these tweets because I mean, I'm not a fan of the recording being leaked because, unfortunately, like, I don't know. Now it's out there. It's out there now. So, Rachel Nichols has some explaining to do. What does she mean with these comments? Because these comments, they come across as a bit selfish. Like this one right here. If you read the piece about Rachel Nichols and Maria Taylor, your takeaway is that we shouldn't be pitting women against each other. You missed the point. White people who only advocate for equality until it requires them to give up anything are holding up white supremacy. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was, are you not giving it up because, well, I'm Rachel Nichols. I'm not sharing the limelight. In the comments rippling through the network, Rachel Nichols said Maria Taylor, who's black, earned the job to host the 2020 NBA Finals because ESPN was feeling the pressure on diversity. Listen, whether Rachel wants to accept this or not, we all listen. Last year was just a really, really mentally waning year from seeing a guy shot in his back 7 times, Jacob Blake, Ahmed Omri killed, Breonna Taylor's life unfortunately taken. I think right there, I think that's a little. I think that says a lot. But see, the biggest thing is, and a guy, and someone that was very wise told me this. He said, Nathan, when you go in these job interviews, you go in there, and they said, well, and the question they said, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you tell them straight up, taking your job. I'm not here to kiss your ass and go, no, I'm here to do a job. I can prove. I was hired to. They hired me for a reason. Now, people are going to find ways to do anything to get to the top. But if you put the work in, like Maria has and others, your time is going to come. Maria Taylor earned the right to host the 2020 NBA Finals. But I think there's a little ego there from Rachel Nichols because she's been the face of it. Like, let me look at some more of these tweets. If I'm understanding the situation, the key issue with Rachel Nichols is, correct me if I'm wrong, but in both cases, you have both parties who feel marginalized and fighting on race and gender. What's the resolution here? Funny that none of these guys who are racing to defend the privacy rights of remote workers who. Okay, I'm not reading that one. But yes, I agree. The taking my thing away, that's a lot of people are saying there's a race factor there. But I mean, I think it goes deeper. You gotta this right here is of many things. You gotta dig deeper. It starts with ESPN. That's why I said the last few years, ESPN, to me, I've lost interest in watching ESPN. I truly have. And like I said, I think we need to I really wish there was a petition to get inside the NBA, TNT Sports, Ernie and the crew, Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, to host it. Because like the storylines they create, like I have a feeling, right? Like tomorrow's Monday, and the question is, can the Milwaukee Bucks win without Giannis against CP3? What do the Milwaukee Bucks need to do to win a championship? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So Rachel Nichols does have some explaining to do. It don't look good, personally, if you ask me, because I think you open up a can of worms if you're Rachel. But I think all of this too, Maria Taylor, she's doing her thing with Adrian Wojnarowski, and there's Jay Williams and Jalen Rose. So, I mean, Maria doing her thing. And, unfortunately, sometimes you got to you got to just say, hey, you know what? Okay. She's doing her thing. She earned it. There you go. Pass the torch. Let your pride go. I apologize if you hear that in the background. They're still shooting off fireworks. That's tough. So, bonus. We're going to revisit some WNBA draft classes. Let me just say this for the record. I said in yesterday's episode that there would be an asterisk beside Asia Durr's name, simply because she has not played last year. and this year due to COVID. I think she's on the New York Liberty suspension list, so I don't really know what that's going to do. I will say this. You know, I particularly like the last 3 years, right? I'll say 2017. Okay, like the biggest thing that stands out to me is that Erica McCall was drafted in the second round. Alexis Peterson should be on the WNBA roster. Sydney Weiss, it's hit or miss. Kelsey Plum, I agree, she deserved to be number 1 overall pick. Lele Coates, I'm looking. I just don't understand why she's not on the WNBA roster. I know people are going to say she's not an offensive person, offensive player, but I just feel like defense wins championships. But this is neither here nor there. Alicia Gray won Rookie of the Year. Nia Coffey, I think she's with the Sparks, not mistaken. Shatori Walker, it's about damn time. She deserved to be. I don't know. Again, that's a whole nother. We tuned in front of the video, just a separate video of the Mystics, but Brittany, like Tori Jinseka, she was waived before the season started. I would have actually, if I was a Chicago Sky, I would have drafted Erica McCall. And I think Kayla Davis, I think she's a free agent. I want to say. Because last year she was on the Dream, but yeah. So, I mean, I think the 28, I think, and again, before, it was a hit or miss. The 2018 draft, Asia Wilson, was a great pick. Kelsey Mitchell for the Indiana Fever, still I think that was a solid B plus. Diamond DeShields, she's a solid player. I say that's an A plus. Gabby Williams, I feel bad for Gabby Williams to hear that the situation that she went out of Chicago. And I think had to do with a large part with James Wade to just suspend her, but she was still overseas. That didn't make any sense. And again, he's more of a head coach, and they need a GM. Jordan, Canada, she's with Seattle. Azora. She's with Chicago. Keep in mind too, I'm not feeling the fact that a lot of these girls are not consistently on a team. They're with them for a year or two. And some of them are traded or cut. Lexi Brown was drafted by the Connecticut Sun, right? But then she was traded to the Minnesota Lynx for Natasha Henderman. So it's she did play, she played 22 games, but she didn't start. Basically, they didn't I don't think Kurt Miller was oh, I just don't think you fit here. It's they draft, I feel like some of these girls that are drafted, I think coaches just pick them just to go, well, I picked them. Monique Billings, I will say this. I believe Monique Billings was a first-round pick. I would have taken, if I'm the Sparks, I would have taken Monique over Maria Vanderveer. Even though I know she was a good baller in Russia, I just feel like Monique has a higher ceiling. That's just me. If you're the Phoenix Mercury, Maisha Hines Allen was there or Mercedes Russells. I'm just letting you like there's diamonds in the rough here. So, and that's 2 back-to-back years where the Aces had 3 first number 1 overall picks, and then they had the 2019 Jackie Young, who was their first round pick. Like again, Asia Durr, like she gets an asterisk next to her name. Tierra McCowan, I think I wouldn't say she was set up to fail, but I blame coaching for not properly developing her, particularly when it comes to athleticism. Like they were playing the Connecticut Sun. It was this part of the beginning of the season, and they were like, I think they were getting dubbed, and it was a fast break. Brianna Jones, shot the University of Maryland, outran her. There's no way in hell my matchup is running faster than me. That's not happening. Arike, no brainer. That was a good pick. Katie Lou, this is another one. Makes no sense. I just feel like James Wade, once again, man, he my girl Kalani Brown, like I feel like the Sparks should have drafted her. I just don't think she was a good fit for the Sparks. I don't. I think where her type of playing style is more like Minnesota, Washington. If you push me, I'll say Phoenix. But she didn't. She was only with the Sparks for 1 year, and then she got traded to Atlanta for Brittany Sykes, and then they cut her. Like, Kara Leslie, another one. There's a couple other diamonds in the rough here, like Sierra Dillard, Marina Marbury, Kennedy Burke, Sophie Cunningham, Jessica Shepard, Natasha Henderman, Megan Gustafsson. Like, again, great talent. I just feel like the scouting just doesn't like the Fever just like for example, like if I did a draft grade for this one right here, then Indiana Fever would have got a B+. Because the next year, right, you would think, okay, well, we got our center. But then the next year, right, for example, again, Indiana Fever, they turned around and drafted Lauren Cox. Why? So now you've got an overloaded front court. And then on top of that, like, I'm not sure maybe if the vision was you have Tierra play the 5 and Lauren play the 4. So let me just give you some names. Jasmine Jones, Hollywood Carter, Crystal Dangerfield, Tia Cooper, Kalea Charles, Jordan Holmes, Kathleen Doyle, Kobe Thornton, Stella Johnson. Like, and this was very shocking that Tia Cooper, who I think was proven to be in the WNBA, was a second-round pick. I like Ty Harris. She's a good little guard from South Carolina. Like Jocelyn Willoughby, like she was the Liberty. She was the Liberty. Like Like Indiana Fever, I would have gave them a C plus. Not a slut on Lauren Cox, but you drafting another center makes no sense. And on top of that, you even had Kiki Herbert Harrigan out of South Carolina. Makes no sense. And then this year's draft. Like Charlie, obviously, like no brainer, number 1 overall pick. Now this Awak Cure from Finland, that threw me off. I'm not going to lie, that really did throw me off. I'm like, who? I haven't seen a lot of Dallas Wing games. I saw them when they played the Mystics. Has she come off the bench in that game? I think she might have. Ari McDonald, I feel bad for her because I think I feel like the Dallas Wings could have took her, but you have Arike and then Marina and then Seitu, so she wouldn't fit. Kaiser Gundersick. I mean, she's going to be a starter next year. That's for sure. I think her coming off the bench and starting here and there is not bad. Chelsea Dunnigy. I'll tell you who was really interesting that should have been in the first round. Destiny Slocum, former Terrapin. Like Natasha Mack, Dee Dee Richards, Kiana Williams, Dejanay Carrington, Kiana Jeter, go Tigers, Towson Tigers. Who had a really good year. She played some great basketball at Towson. It's disappointing that she didn't get an opportunity to really prove, her worth. So I hope to see her in the WNBA roster next year. And hell, she could even be on the team on the roster now. You never know. So, I think some of these need to be reevaluated. Like the Ayanna Rupert, she was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces, and she hasn't played. I have not seen her at all. I haven't. Dana Evans, if I was to redo this year's draft, right? Charlie would be my number 1, okay? Ari McDonald would be my number 2. Kaiser. No, actually, take that back. I would probably say Chelsea Perry. Unique Thompson out of Auburn University. Yeah, that's a good one. I like Shiley Hill, Rania Davis, but I think she's out for the season. Yes, she is. She did something to her foot. I think she is a stress fracture or she broke it. I can't remember what time I had. Did one of the two. this whole draft would be redone. Like Dee Richards, Dejanay Carrington would be in my first round. But I don't know. I gotta like the way like these drafts are, and like a lot of these are hit or miss, and unfortunately too, a lot of them don't either they get waived, like or they traded, like. I think like I would say like the steal, I would have to say is Kaiser. She averaged 19 and a half. This her last year in West Virginia. But Ari McDonald, like that's going to be a tough one. I don't really know how you like explain that with the situation going on in Atlanta, especially that guard heavy. And it's not her fault. Excuse me. But I'm just reevaluating some of these draft classes, and I really wish like you really can't even see like again like Shyla Heal, right? She was waived last month in June. She only played 4 games with the Sky. So like my question is then what's the point of drafting some of these girls and they're not on a roster? Like that's what I'm saying. Like again, I go back to like when Alana Coates was drafted, Kalani Brown, the way that like the first round in particular, protect them. Like we shouldn't be cutting players or trading them like the first 2 years of their contract. Like that's ridiculous. If that's the case, then Zion Williamson should be able to do that. You know what I mean? Or like the Pelicans go, well, Zion, after 5 years, you know what? You ain't the guy for us. So we're just gonna cut you. Like we gotta protect. Like there needs to be some type of protection of the first round picks. Like that's ridiculous. And again, there's too much great talent in the WNBA that's being cut left and right because either it's you can't win, you can win with 9-10 players, or you can't win with 12. Like that's BS. Like I say you need at least 12 players, but I think the biggest thing is we need to expand the rosters. We need to more minutes, like at least 48 minutes a game, and expand the I don't know. It just like there's many things we can work on with the WNBA, and I think the biggest thing is makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. But like, just finishing up my notes here. Yeah, like it makes no sense because I mean we when we evaluate some of these girls like 5 years from now, like Kalani Brown, like I'm waiting for someone to say, "Hey, we're gonna sign her because she's a great defensively." And again, Trashage, shout out to the regular Ravens fan. I saw what she could do at Baylor. Alana Coates, I know what she brings. She brings a defensive-minded first mentality. Like defense wins championships. We can lead the league in school. We can have all these shooters and be the best shooting team in the league. But when you don't have defense, that's a problem. So I mean, it's all about the eye test And like what the eye test tells me, with some of this talent, like I think they're drafted in the situations where I think they're just temporary and they're not permanent solutions. Like I don't know where Ari McDonald could end up, but I know I don't know where Ryan Howard, because we know she's going to be a number 1 overall pick next year. So I mean, we'll see. But I mean, the last few draft classes I've just noticed, particularly from 2017 going forward, I've just noticed there's just not consistency. There's no protection of first round players, and I'm seeing a lot of cuts. A lot of them, some of them, is if I had to count, it's really embarrassing to see that. I mean, I know I'm rambling, and you're going what the hell are you talking about? But to really see the amount of talent that's come through the WNBA so far, and some of them aren't on teams. Some of them have gotten waived before the season started, or they've been traded, then cut, and you don't hear from them for the rest of the year. They got to go overseas, which is something. Again, that's what I'm saying. We got to really figure that angle out, because I don't like them going overseas where they can get injured and they're out for the year, and when they got to, especially when the season's done over there, and they have to come back here. Like for example, Breonna Stewart, when she tore her ACL, that hurt the Seattle Storm. So again, hey LeBron, I don't see you tweeting about that, but that's neither here nor there. But it is what it is. But I mean, I just think that we need to just reevaluate these drafts. I think the first round picks need to be protected. If we had to redo it, I wish some of these girls were redrafted on better teams, better situations. I wish that some of these girls are on rosters today. I know Lauren Cox signed with the Sparks. I know she even signed with the team that Kalani Brown plays for. I believe it's in Turkey. So, but I have to give those draft classes at best B-, 80%. Because I mean, some of them like Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson, Brianna Jones, Jackie Young, that's great. But the others that had a tremendous career at college, when they come into the pros, they're not given the opportunities. And again, we can talk about expansion, but in order to expand, we got to get people to invest more into the WNBA. And no, I disagree with this. There's people that aren't willing to give up their roster spots. Like Simone Augustus retired because she didn't want to get in the way of Bria Holmes. She's giving an opportunity to somebody else. But Brianna Holmes was cut. Makes no sense. Kiara Leslie, Stella Johnson were cut because, well, we don't need 12 players. When Emmett comes back, we're going to see what the team looks like afterwards. I'm basically just paraphrasing it. But Kalani Brown was cut because, well, she really wasn't in basketball shape. But you mean to tell me the numbers she put up in Turkey don't reflect the type of player she can be in the WNBA? Because mind you, when she was in the bubble, before she got in the bubble, she had COVID. So what's the problem? But then again, I think there's favoritism in the WNBA. I think I just feel like that you really got to prove your worth harder than you should, because I feel like you're drafted on these teams for a reason, because you fit their system. And I feel like a lot of these girls are drafted because, oh, they're the best player and they make sense. So I want to draft what's the best player instead of saying, well, let me draft her because she brings a defensive-minded mentality to the team. Let me draft her because you know what? She can space the floor. She can also she's a combo guard. She has great ball handling skills. Like I don't see that. I see talent being traded, waived, too many times, and I can see the pattern for next year's draft. So, I mean, y'all let me know y'all thoughts. That's going to conclude episode 9. How y'all feel about it? You know, I apologize if I rambled that long, but I'm just looking like the WNBA. I've really invested a lot of time into it, and I've been really watching, seeing some of these games, and it's a league that I believe can grow and is still growing, but I'm just not feeling this. Let's just cut players randomly and and then you never hear from them like that after again. Like Shatori Walker should not be on a 7-day contract. Like that bothers me. But that's going to conclude it. I'm going to go to bed, y'all. I hope y'all have, if you do have an extended weekend, have a good weekend. Stay safe. Welcome to July. It's funny. I was going to actually do stream this because it was hold on, let me do the math. 158 years ago, the Union Army beat the Confederates at the Battle of Gettysburg, and I was going to stream the Battle of Gettysburg through a game I played. But it didn't cross my mind. I was just watching a whole bunch of people talk about the Battle of Gettysburg. I love talking about that stuff. I actually do plan on interviewing a YouTuber. I'm not going to see who their name is, but I know that he's very into that kind of stuff, American history, Civil War. So be on the lookout for that. But that's going to conclude episode 9. Be on the lookout for an NBA Lives preview that's coming soon. And we're going to talk more with the Orioles. And like I said, season 1 is coming to an end. And then season 2, NFL, baby. So the grind don't stop. I'm out. Peace. Stay up.